All right, now we're going to talk about the law of signs ambiguous case. We want to figure out if we have no triangle, one triangle, or two triangles. So first of all, here's a review of our law of signs. Notice in this case, we actually put the side over the angle, and that's okay. It's going to still have the same meaning where each of these ratios are the same. So here would be an example of no triangle. Say I set up my law of signs and it's not possible. The side that you get is less than what the triangle would equal. Remember when we set up like how to determine if it equals a triangle? And you could have one triangle, or you could have the possibility of having two triangles where you don't just have one angle B, you may have like two or whatever. So we're going to go through these different situations and try to figure this out. So steps for solving law of signs ambiguous case. So this is your SSA congruency. You first want to, when you're given a problem, to draw the triangle and label it. Okay, we're good at that. And here's a little quick way of how to remember of going about solving for your law of signs ambiguous case. The fruit angle, or the angle opposite the given side. So think of that word, angle opposite given side. In other words, apples, oranges, grapes, strawberries. That's how you remember it. That's your little fruit method of remembering it. It's always the angle opposite the given side. So if you get error, that's the first thing, then you know that there's no triangle. Okay? If you get an answer, then you need to continue to solve for all of the missing parts of that triangle. Okay? So first of all, if you get an error, no triangle, but if you get an answer, then you continue to solve for all the missing parts of the triangle. So now you find the supplemental fruit, meaning you take, first of all, when you get that answer, that angle, the supplemental angle is going to equal 180 minus the fruit angle. So that initial answer, okay? And if your supplemental fruit plus given angle is greater than 180, then done, you have one triangle solved. If it's less than 180, then the two triangles are now solved for all missing parts of the triangles, and you have two separate triangles. So remember, our solution is either no triangle, one triangle, or two triangles. So let's give an example, because that would be completely confusing of just listening to this without having an actual example. So we're going to walk through this, even though they did it for us, but we're going to talk through this. So first it says draw your triangle. We're given this triangle. Label your sides. So I have my angle. I have 42 degrees. I have 5 and I have 10. So do you see how this is SSA? So some of you have forgotten. See how I have an angle, side, side, or side, side, angle. Okay, that's in this situation only. Okay, so first we want to find, what does it say to find? It's finding the angle that's opposite the side. So you're probably like, well, wait, 5 is the side, but we already have that angle. Remember, it says find the angle opposite that other side. So that's why we're going to find angle B. Oops, get the wrong color. So we're going to try to analyze angle B. So let's set it up. Sine B over 10 equals sine 42 over 5. So now when I go ahead and I solve this, I get sine B as a negative 1.833. That's what happens on my calculator. When I do my inverse sine, my calculator says error. So this first example is an example where there's no triangle. I don't have to go any further. So first of all, to review, you found the angle that was opposite that other side, okay, to set up your law of signs. So let's try another one. All right. So I have this other one right here. And basically, we labeled our sides. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Notice I have, why did they put all that? 15, 13, and 41. All right. So basically, why did they put 5 here? I'm curious. Let's ignore that 5 for now. So I would have angle, side, side, okay? So for the angle, side, side, what are we trying to find? Okay, well, these match up. So I need to find my fruit thing would be angle C. That's going to be my fruit angle because these match up and then these two match up. Okay, For this, I set up sine C over 13 equals sine 41 over 15. We go ahead, we solve it, and I end up getting angle C is 35 degrees. So notice there is at least a triangle. Now we just don't know if there's one or two triangles. So let's go ahead and label this. So let's put in, let me kind of clean up my thing here. Well, that still need to be, that's not, I don't know why they have that there. That's a mistake. Yuck. Okay, so now we know that this is 35 degrees. Okay, so let's continue and find everything else. Well, what else do I know? Well, I can find angle B simply by, let's add 41 and 35. And then subtract from 180. And I get angle B as 104. All right. Now, what else are we missing? We need to get side B. Side B right here. All right. So let's set up a new sine thing. So I'm going to do sine 104 over B equals sine 41 over 15. And I chose the A's again, this right here, because it's the given. So if I made a mistake early on, I don't want it to cause another mistake. So I go ahead and I do that, and I get B is 22, which proves that that was a typo right there. B is 22. All right. So now I have my triangle. So what do we do next? We want to test to see, is there one triangle or two? Okay, so we have my triangle, so I'm going to go ahead and erase it. You have it written out for you on your sheets, but I'm just kind of doing it like you didn't have it written out on your sheets. So basically, we know, what was my supplemental, my original fruit, C? Well, my original one, we would take 180 minus angle C. So I have 180 minus 35 equals 145. Now you want to check this 145 is, so in other words, we're checking to see if this new angle C, if this was the new angle C, and if I had 145 plus 41, it equals 186. That is greater than 80. 186 is greater than 180. So it's not possible, not possible. So we are left with just one triangle, okay? If this had been when you had your new angle C added to what was given, the 41, if it had been less than 180, that means that could be a possibility for a second triangle, and we'd have to solve the whole triangle. So let's try that number 3. Number 3 is going to be an example that we're going to do, that we are going to get two triangles, okay? So let's go ahead. So first of all, let's start with this triangle. All right, so I'm given, this matches up with this, and I have angle, side, side, all right? So that's how I know how to do this, is I have angle, side, side. So the one we need to start with, again, this is a given that we don't know. I don't want that there. So what we need to start with is finding angle B. We're finding angle B is my fruit angle. So sine B over 20 equals sine 30 over 15. I go ahead and I solve, and I get angle B is 42 degrees. Okay, angle B is 42 degrees. Oops, I think I went back. Do you know what I did? I am curious where I have them all mixed up, don't I? That's problem number 1. Here's problem number 2, all mixed up. Okay, so I'm going to I am so sorry. Okay, we're just going to go through this. All right, so we have angle B is 42. So we know that this is 42. All right, next part, we can go ahead and find angle C by 42 plus 30 is 72. We subtract that from 180, and I get angle C as 108. So now let's find side C. So sine 108 over C equals sine 30 over 15. I get side C as 28.5. Okay, so that's the first step, 28.5. Now, from that, we clearly have one triangle, but we want to see if we can go ahead and solve for the second triangle. So what do? Take your 42. So it'd be, so here's my first triangle. So take your 42 and subtract from 180, and you get 138. Now, take that new angle for angle B, add it to the given angle, 30, and I get 168. And guess what? 168 is less than 180. So this 138 is a possibility. So remember how we found angle B was 42? Another possibility could be 138. So that's what the triangle we were given here. So I could have 30, 138, 20, 15. So now what we have to do is use all of our math to go ahead and solve for the missing parts here. So what would be angle C? Angle C, well, I add 168. So what is 180 minus 168? 12. So now, if this is 12 degrees, I get to use my law of sines. So sine 30 over 15 equals sine 12 over little c. And when I do that, I get little c as 6.24. Last but not least, I think we got it all. Yes, we got 6.24. So what you have is you have two triangles in this case, okay? And so that actually ends our lesson on the ambiguous case.